Welcome to week 5. You guys excited? Week 5? You know why it's a great week?
Yep.
Marketing. Yay! It's marketing week. So much fun. Love week 5. It's marketing. Always awesome, right? Yeah, it's so great. Oh, yeah, I know, right? So awesome. Love week 5. And this week, congratulations, you guys, you showed up. So that means you know that our week 5 assignment will be due on Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Our week 4 late submissions are due tonight, so get it in now if you have not by 11:59 p.m. Get those late submissions in. And because you're here, you will now know the surprise is if you turn in your week 5 assignment by Saturday at 11:59 p.m., you will receive 5 points extra credit. 5 points towards your grade extra credit. So turn in your assignment by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. and you get extra credit just by turning it in early. How awesome is that? And remember, week 4 late submissions are due tonight at 11:59 p.m. How were those week 4 submissions looking, Chef? They looking good?
They were. Overall, I saw a lot of really creative solutions to what could potentially be going wrong with those 3 businesses. For the most part, it seemed like people understood where the cost problems were when comparing those with the revenue for each business. There were some common stumbling blocks. One of them being, make sure you give 2 solutions for each of the problems that you identified. So, for instance, if you identified food cost as a problem, make sure to give 2 solutions for that and then move on to your second cost problem for that business.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh, and remember too, you had 3 options for businesses. You know, every one of them has the potential to be profitable, but you have to figure out how you're going to be able to do it. Because believe me, when I walked into the business that I ran, it was not profitable at all. But I was able to do my research, look at my numbers, check out my budget, do that delightful forecast, all that fun stuff. And I was able to make a profit, a very good profit. I was above industry standards in a place that had like wallpaper falling off of the walls. How did I get people in there? I looked at my numbers. I figured out my customer service. I figured out my marketing, which is what we're going to be doing this week. So remember, all of them have the potential. It's just figuring out how you're going to make it good, right? Am I right, Chef?
Yeah, absolutely. And telling me how it's going to be profitable. For instance, I saw a lot of Chef Janet's business has the most potential to be profitable because she's breaking even right now. Some other people said Chef John's because he had the most revenue. Gotta be honest, I didn't see any Chef Jamie this time. Jamie's Waffle Wagon, nobody thought that would have the most potential for profit, but there's the most room for improvement there, right? So, you know, all 3 of them really have the potential to not only profit, but be the most profitable of the 3 businesses. It's just depending on how you approach that business.
Yeah, and it's all about, and I mean, like, I love taking businesses that are not doing well and turning them around. That's like my favorite thing to do. I love looking and being like, let's check out let's see if this bad boy is going to work. Let's check out the numbers, policies, procedures. Nathaniel, what is your question?
Yes, I just got on. Now, the calculate, we're supposed to multiply by 5 and divide by something?
So to figure out where your costs are, remember you're always going to take cost and divide it by revenue. So for instance, if you're looking at your food cost, you'll take your food cost and divide it by your food sales, and that'll give you what percentage you're at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just struggling how to figure it out still, but I'm learning.
Okay. So first I would start categorically. So you want to look at like cost of goods sold or total labor cost or total operating cost and divide that by total revenue. And that's going to be your quickest way to figure out where there are problems, but then you can dig in deeper into those individual lines like under cost of goods sold. Does that make sense?
Yeah, how about if I give you a call tomorrow and maybe we can set something up?
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Nathaniel, and I can even send you a slide that shows top tips that I did for the cost controls class that I was just in. So that would be able to also help you. So I can also send that out to a message to you guys so that you have that also to help. All right. And then let's see what else. Remember, you're going to have extra credit. Surprise. And I want you guys to plan ahead. Planning ahead is important. Here's the perfect example. How many people watch Super Bowl? You guys watch Super Bowl? Yay, Patriots!
Yeah. I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, I was not watching the Super Bowl because I was doing my homework that was due that night. And the beauty of it is that for me, Microsoft Office completely went down. Completely. So my 30-minute PowerPoint presentation, my 2 papers for my franchising class, all of that stuff was gone. But I am a paranoid person and I had backup. I backed everything up into Google Docs. So I had a plan, I backed it up so I could still turn in my work. And that type of planning ahead is what you need to do for the next couple of weeks because week 6 is a short week. You guys remember? Everything is due on Sunday. There is no, I'm going to resubmit because resubmit does not exist after 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time Sunday night because that's the end of the class. There is no more. So make certain to get all of your stuff in because the end of class is on Sunday, February 17th at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. So everything has to be in. Makeup assignments, all of that beautiful stuff has to be in. I also wanted to share with all of you to make certain, for those who do a makeup assignment, remember, the makeup assignments are right here, right down at the bottom of your class page. See, this is week 5. Down here is makeup assignments. You have makeup assignment 1 and makeup assignment 2. You can only put 1 assignment in each spot. You cannot put 6 assignments in makeup 1. Those will not get graded. You have to make certain that you have 1 assignment on this one and 1 assignment in the other one. So it's 2 makeup assignments. That also means you need to label them and say what week it's actually for in those assignments. Am I right, Jeff?
You are. And just as a reminder, those makeup assignments are for missed or failed assignments only. So if you got over a 60 on an assignment, I can't regrade it. So makeup assignments, failing or missed assignments only, please.
Yes. So remember, you only get 2 spots for makeup assignments. And so you cannot put like 2 links into 1 makeup assignment because that will veto itself out. You will not get graded. So make certain 1 in each one of those makeup assignments. And you have until week 6, the end of week 6, which is that Sunday. After that, it's no more. That class is done. Everything's done. Everybody's, well, nobody's on vacation, but everybody is going to move on to their next set of classes. So be prepared and just get your work in early. Do it early because you get rewarded, like extra credit, the chance to resubmit and make sure that you actually get a higher grade. Those kind of things will be fantastic. So be certain to do that. Am I right? Can I get a thumbs up?
Whoop, whoop.
Patricia, I do not know what your next class is. It farm to table after this?
I believe the next one is World Cuisines.
Ah, world
And
cuisine.
then it'll be Farm to Table. And guess what? That's basically it. You have 2 more classes and an externship.
And yeah, speaking of your externships, now is the time to start thinking about it. Do you know where I did my externship? Guesses? I did mine in Australia. I went all the way over to Australia to do my externship, and I ended up living over there for a bit, which was fun because I just traveled from city to city to city, looked at all the restaurants that I wanted to work at, and was like, hey, do you mind if I work here for like a couple of days? You know, just I'll do whatever. I was like prep. I worked on I was a dishwasher. I didn't care. I just wanted to go in and see what they were doing and what their process was. It was a fabulous way to learn a bunch of different stuff and work at a bunch of really cool places in a short amount of time. Chef Jonathan, where did you do your externship?
I did mine in Napa Valley at a Michelin recommended restaurant. And it was a blast. It was unpaid, which was a bummer. But I had such a fantastic experience with it because I got to experience not only the food at the restaurant I was at, but while I was there, I staged at basically every other restaurant in Napa Valley. I got to go to all the vineyards. I loved my externship. It was fantastic.
Oh.
And that also means both of us planned ahead. I had to get visas. I had to do all that kind of stuff. So if you want to go somewhere super cool, you got to plan ahead. So start planning now for your externship, because I am guessing Chef Jonathan also had to plan ahead.
Months and months ahead.
Yeah.
There was interviews, there was travel arrangements, there was living arrangements. Because I was actually living in Colorado. So I just went out there for my externship. Lots of planning.
It is. It's a lot of planning. So get started now and start planning out your externship. Now's the time. You got like 2 more classes after this and then your externship. So get on top of it now and figure out where you want to go. Because that's the beauty. I love this. This is why I love this certificate, is because you can work anywhere. Anywhere you feel like you can go to. I mean, heck, my sister got homesick and when she was getting her PhD at Cambridge over in England, and I was like, well, I'm not doing much. I can come over. So I literally, quit my job and went over and lived with her for a bit until she got more settled, and then worked over there, like checked out the bakeries and did all that type of stuff. That's the beauty of this thing. You can go anywhere. Can we begin our externship before finishing the last 2 classes? I believe that you can. Is that correct, Chef? That you can start soon?
You can't actually start accruing your externship hours, but you can have it set up and you can make sure that it's an approved externship and have everything in line and start working there. It just won't count for your externship hours until that time in the program.
Yeah.
That is last I checked.
Oh, nice.
Right. Yeah, because I was looking into that too when we need to start it. So that's why I was getting a hold of who's taking care of my externship at school of where to go.
Yeah. Oh, nice. And then not all externships are unpaid. Do not worry. I was paid, but it just depends on where you go. I am not surprised that Chef Jonathan was not paid because he worked at a Michelin star rated place. So that kind of makes sense there. They're like, you want to work here? Yeah, you should be paying us to work here kind of style place. So, but you can find those externships that are paid. But start looking now. so you can get on top of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Nice. And a great way to get on top of that is by marketing yourself, right? It's all about marketing, which is what we're doing this week, because you will be marketing, marketing, marketing all of the time.
Yeah, I actually printed out a few more of my certificates for my food handlers. And I printed out a few more so I can bring those with me.
Nice. That's perfect. Because remember, while we are in a high technological world, the majority of what happens in our industry occurs offline, right? Because you can't dine. Like, I cannot reach in and grab food. This, unfortunately, is not Star Trek: The Next Generation, where we have a food replicator that can create my tea Earl Grey hot right there for me. That cannot happen. All of the stuff happens offline. That experience is happening offline, but it can also go into online, right? Because we have Yelp reviews, we have TripAdvisor, we have all of that fun stuff. And do you guys remember what our product is?
Herself.
What are the two parts of our product that we are selling here in our fantastic industry that we work for?
Repeat that question, please.
What is our products? Do you guys remember? We talked about it before.
Food.
The food, but what is food considered? You guys don't remember? No. So we have our tangibles and we have our intangibles.
Okay.
The tangibles is the food, the chairs that people sit in, the building, the light bulbs, the plates, all of that, that is those are the tangibles. Your intangibles is the experience you get. That's the memory that you are getting by eating that food, by being in that environment. And our product for our industry is the combination of your tangibles and intangibles that create the product that we make. So you need to make certain that they're consistent. So if you are expecting to have a wonderful, beautiful, like, think of Disney. Disney sells magic, right? They have their, they have TV shows, they have movies, they have their theme parks, they have restaurants. But whenever you think of Disney, you're thinking of the magic that it's creating, right? That is what you want to try to figure out. You have your concept. Now, what is the experience that you want that concept to portray? Because if it's going to be a Michelin star rated place, I expect to have a higher level of service, a higher level of an atmosphere. I am not going to walk into a Michelin star rated place with jeans that have holes in them and like bleached stains on my shirt. I may do that for walking into McDonald's or another fast food joint, but not for a high-end place where I'm going to be spending like at least $400 on my meal, right? You're gonna dress up. It's a special occasion usually when people are going to those places. So those are things you need to think about when you're looking at your marketing too. What is the product you are actually providing? What are you giving to your customers? Because you want your product to match the expectations. And this is where your marketing comes in, because your marketing needs to match the expectations that the customer is going to expect. Yes, Nathaniel.
Yes, I just want a quick definition for tangibles and intangibles. Intangibles is, as you said, experience, right?
Yep.
And tangibles would be what?
The tangibles are all the things you can touch. everything that you can touch, from your cup to your food, all of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Because everything needs to be consistent and match, right? Because if you are going to say that you're a high-end place, I do not expect my food to come out in a, you know, disposable dishware that I like, a, you know, paper plate. I don't expect my Michelin star rated food to come out in a paper plate. So that's where everything needs to be consistent, right? Then, boom. Let's go to the next one. You want to make certain that you come up with a plan. You come up with a business plan. We've talked about your business plan. We've talked about the concept. And a lot of times people forget about the marketing plan. And the marketing plan is just as important, because you have your concept, you have the investors and all this stuff, but you need to get people in the door. And how are you going to do that? And it's the same exact thing that you would see with your business plan, is that you want to create a plan, create a strategy to be able to get to your customers. Remember how you guys did your demographics? Was it week one? Week one was demographics, correct? You guys found that information? Now, the reason why you grab that information is now you have it, and now you can create your target market. You can find who your target market is going to be. So you grab that broad scope of people, and now you're going to concentrate it down on who you're actually going to market. Because remember, we don't have $1 million. We don't have $1 billion. If I did, I would probably not be spending it on marketing or business. I would be somewhere, I would have like 3 houses all over the world and doing stuff. Like, since we don't have all the money in the world, you need to make certain that you concentrate on who you actually want to come into your establishment. I'll bring up McDonald's again. McDonald's, do you think they market to billionaires? No, they don't. They will gladly take their money, but they are not trying to market towards billionaires. And so that's where you need to figure out who your target market is, so that you can capture them. And as you capture them, it'll turn into like an umbrella, right? Because McDonald's is not going for that millionaires, billionaires, but people still know, and it trickles down and will capture other people. But the main people you want to get needs to be the people that you market to, because you don't have enough money to market to everybody. You just don't. And another great example, if you say, well, I want everybody to come into my restaurant, I should try to market to everybody. What if you ended up with, you're a vegan place. You're all vegan all the time. Are you going to market to people who are hunters and meat eaters? No, don't waste your money, because they are not going to come to an all vegan restaurant. Like, that is, if they do, that's great, but you don't want to spend all of your time and money on a group that may never enter your doors. So that is why we found all that information, and now we narrowed it down to your target market, who you're going to market to, and then you create your plan. You figure out who you need to capture and how you're going to do it. How are you going to get those people in your doors? So that's where, when we talked about all those generation, like your market segments, age range, all that part of your demographic, that's going to help you create your plan, because now you know Who's in your location? How much money do they really have? How much can they spend? All of that type of stuff is really, really important. And it's very important to do the research, because you always have to do the research in order to create your plan. And for your marketing plan, remember, you want to be open to all of the possibilities. This is where you get to be creative. You're creative in the kitchen, so now be creative with your marketing plan. You can go out there and become a, like all the social media people, they end up doing, you know, the Instagram, and they become influencers, right? How many people know what influencers are? Have you guys heard of influencers?
Yep.
Yes. Well, influencers, there's all those people who travel around and take pictures of their in their Instagram account, and then, you know, post it for their followers to see. You can pay people to do that. You can do it for yourself, for your business, right? You can become your own influencer and say, like, you know, perfect example is, say I have Campbell's soup. You love Campbell's soup. You want to get people to buy more Campbell's soup. You decided, well, I'm going to do something awesome with this tomato soup that I have. I'm not just going to throw it in a bowl and nuke it in the microwave or on top of the stovetop. I'm going to throw some molecular gastronomy on top of this bad boy, and I'm going to turn my tomato soup into an infused foam that's going to lay on top of my seared asparagus. And it's gonna look super pretty, and I'm gonna take a picture of it, and I'm gonna take a picture of it next to that can of tomato soup. Well, Campbell's may be like, wow, I love that photo. I love that idea of what you did. I'm gonna pay you for that photo. That's those type of being creative and open to the possibilities that you guys need to explore. Because it's definitely helpful, and you need to re-examine it also, because I can tell you, for one of the businesses that I worked for, I mean, it was like the very first website, like in the 90s. It was Pepto-Bismol pink. It was like doilies everywhere. It was like god awful, and they just never bothered to update anything, because they came up with their plan, but they never actually re-examined it to make sure that it's still concise with their target market. It's still up to date with the trends and all that kind of stuff. And that's why it's so important to be on top of this stuff. Look at the possibilities, brainstorm, and once you do that, create a goal. See what you want your objective to be. What is your selling point? What do you want your brand to stand for? These are the type of things that you need to ask yourself when you're looking at your marketing. And then, as I said, looking at your target market. That means looking at which one's going to be most profitable. What's your competition in that market? What is your market looking like? What are they currently getting as a product now? Those are areas that you want to consider when you're looking at creating your plan. And then you want a strategy, because you want to make certain that you know what your options are. What type of volume are you going to have? How much is your budget for this type of stuff? And your budget will also be a part of that, understanding your return on investment. Do you know what a return on investment is?
Elaborate.
It's the money that you make.
It's the profit, isn't it?
Well, profit and they're not necessarily the same thing, because your return on investment deals with the money that you invested in the company, and that return is you realize that money that's based off of the net profit. So profit measures the performance of the business, and this one's looking at the money that you invested into it and how fast you're actually going to get it back. And
So-
then we also have your corporate social responsibilities. Do you guys remember that when we talked about ethics, all that type of stuff? This can help go into your marketing plan, because if you know that you are going to be a sustainable business that's going to have solar panels and do all this kind of stuff, then you're going to try to go to market to those eco-friendly people. I knew for my target market for the B&B that a good majority of them were people who were staying were looking to move to Fort Collins because they wanted to retire there. So that changed my marketing structure, because I knew that I was wanting to get people who were going to retire. And I knew that those people were coming from 3 different states, which was Texas, California, and Wyoming. The majority of them were coming from those 3 different states. So I made certain to branch out and market in those states in things like AARP and those kind of areas. Now, how do you think I knew that my market was coming from, those retirees were coming from Texas, from California, and from Wyoming?
Research.
Research. What else?
And just talking to your clients, like, where are you coming from? And
Yep, I talked to my clients. Very good, because I was making that connection. And also a beautiful thing called analytics. Google Analytics. It's one lady did it, and it was an article about how she used it for to find out how well those dating services really knew her, you know, like Match.com and eHarmony and all those ones. And they were able to capture so much information from her just by her search history that it is like, you know, like 1984 style interesting, because I was able to look at where those people were going. I was able to see, once they clicked on my page, how long they were able to stay there for, what areas they were looking at, and then I was able to see what websites they went to next. So you can gather all of that information, all of that research, which is especially helpful when you're trying to figure out if your marketing is working. And I was able to see, oh yeah, I got a bunch of people from Wyoming, from Texas, from California. And then I was able to talk to them at the breakfast table to be like, oh, what you doing here, you know? And then be able to see, yeah, they were here to retire. That's why they wanted to look at this stuff. So, and another great thing that you guys are always going to have to think about for your marketing, which is why we went over budgets, right, is your pricing. How are you going to actually sell your business? How's that going to happen? How many sales are you going to be able to get with the type of marketing that you're going to be trying to do? And then what type of thing is actually going to support your brand? Another key part of your marketing plan is actually establishing a timeline. Many times people create the marketing plan and they're like, I am done. I don't have to do this again. And then they never look at it. And that is a mistake. You want to have a timeline. You want to re-examine to see if stuff is working, if it is not working. It is all a part of that process. Do you guys remember the name of the PDCA that we went over all the way back in week 1 that we did this one? That one? You guys remember? Plan, do, check, act. You guys remember that in the slides? Way back when. So all the way back in week 1, that plan, do, check, act, a big circle. You can do the same exact thing for your marketing plan. You're planning it out. You actually go through with it, do it. You check to see if it's planned, you checked, act. Yeah, you check to see how it's doing. And then you act. Did it work? Did it not work? If it didn't work, you re-examine the plan again, and you go through the constant cycle. This is where you guys learn that your entire life is a circle, a constant revolving circle that will just keep on going. Same thing, you always have to check your budgets. You're doing the same thing here. You got to check everything out. And then a great way to figure it out is using the 4 P's of marketing. And they've done it where they have like the 4 P's, and then they do the 7 P's, and then they switched it to the 4 C's. Can you see it?
Chef, I can see it, but it's like supposed to be full screen, and I'm seeing half of your desktop and half of the presentation.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me try that again. There, is that better? Yay. Okay, good.
No.
So you got your, and I love the 4 P's, and I especially loved this one that I found for you guys because it, instead of just listing off like, you need to know your brand and that type of stuff, it's making you look at the questions that you should be asking. And remember, these slides are always going to be available to you under week 5, under the live session. So do not worry. They will be available for you. But these are things you need to look at. And one of the P's that isn't there, but they always call it like the silent P, is the people. So you have price, promotion, place, product, and the 5th P is usually the people, that target market that you're going for, right? That's the human element that you are trying to get. And this can help you figure out what type of experience you want your customers to have with your products. How much are you going to actually charge? What is your competition doing? What is the promotion that you're going to use? Because you may use a different promotion for a different type of demographic and generations even. Because we have the delightful, you have your typical like Generation X, Generation Y, millennials, all that stuff. But then you have the technological generations, such as the digital immigrant versus the digital native versus the digital alien. Remember, have you guys heard that? Digital native are people who grew up with technology. They have never known a time that a cell phone was not around. Versus a digital immigrant like myself, I know what a VCR is. I know what a tape cassette is. I know what an actual real telephone, landline telephone with the cord and everything looks like. I grew up with that. You end up having to market differently to those type of people because, yes, 8-track. Exactly. I know what Atari is. I think my brother still has our Atari. So, but you're going to market differently because somebody who's a digital native will definitely be more inclined to like YouTube videos and that kind of stuff versus a digital immigrant who's used to searching things on Google, those kind of things. Even the way you market, because digital natives, they are wired differently in their brains. So they need those, short bursts of information versus someone like myself who can read something and like focus on that one thing and not get bored with what's happening, So that's why I love the 4 Ps, because it goes over all of this great stuff. And then social media is a really, really critical tool to use, and you guys need to make certain that you are aware of it because we are in a technological world. You can end up getting, like, say you have your business and you are going to do like meal kits, and those meal kits are going to go all over the country. So now your whole target market is all over the country. You're growing on a global scale. You want to make certain that you are up to date on all the technology. And these are some of the websites that I actually liked that I thought they did a really, really nice job with. They have a nice flow. Everything looks pretty. It has Meet the Team. And they're very eye-catching, which is important, especially for your business. See, look at that. Boom, Valentine's Day. See how nice that just popped right up? Be like, are you thinking about Valentine's Day? I was not thinking about Valentine's Day. I'm thinking about my homework. But now I'm thinking about Valentine's Day and where I should be going to eat. And you look at the photos and everything looks really, really nice, right? You want your website to match your concept. Look at how great the food looks. It's high end. You expect there to be a higher level of service. And you see it in the atmosphere too, right? See all of this great stuff. All these tangibles create this intangible atmosphere. Ooh, and they do caterings. Isn't that great? And then here's another one for you guys. And remember, social media is very, very important because it will help you decide who you're actually going to market to. Because you can have a website, but then are you going to have Snapchat? Are you going to have Instagram? Are you going to have Facebook? Back in the day, those actually used to be options. Now, you just have to do it, right? Especially if you're going to be up to date on TripAdvisor and Yelp, because a big part of your marketing, anyone have their website up? Yeah, you should. You can have your website up. Get that going now. Buy it now at for your domain. Buy it now, which is another part of the money that you have to think about that you're spending on this type of stuff. Especially for social media, it's so easy for people to think, oh, I am doing all of this great social media. I don't have to pay anybody to do this social media. It's all free. But it's not really free. Not at all, because you are spending your time doing all of this work, and you need to pay yourself. You need to pay yourself for this stuff. And I can tell you that marketing, like if you're going to have it like website hosting, that costs money per month. All of this stuff costs money. If you're going to hire somebody to do those awesome food photos for you, a friend of mine is a food stylist. She's literally sitting there with tweezers, putting the sesames on each of the, on the sesame bun. She's like strategically placing them there to make it the perfect bun, like those kind of things. There are people who do that, and they do quite well and make, really good money doing it, because photos are so important now, especially for your marketing. And you have to pay somebody to do that stuff. Whether you're paying yourself or you're paying somebody else to come in and do it, you have to consider those when you're looking at your budget and your budget for this stuff. Because you just need to pay yourself. I know so many people are like, oh, I'm going to be doing the social media. That's all going to be free because I'm doing it. No, it's not. It's not free because that takes your time. That takes a lot of your time to do. And another great thing to remember too is social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that's all considered one form of marketing. So do remember that when you are doing your assignment, because it is one form of marketing. So you cannot just say for your assignment, well, I'm going to do Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat. That's all one thing. So social media, that's one form of marketing. Then you have to look at what else are you going to do? Are you going to do brochures? Are you going to do postcards? Are you going to do business cards? Are you going to do a billboard? Is a billboard even worth it for your area? Those are things you need to look at. And they all cost money. So it's important to remember everything costs money, and you need to figure out how much money you are going to be spending. Am I right, Chef?
You are right. Uh, do you want me to talk about the assignment now?
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought I segued. I should have
I
done.
thought you did too, which is why I was like, wow, okay. Yes, this week's assignment is, it's really important to do your research on your area. Find out how much a billboard costs, because I'm going to tell you right now, a billboard in Omaha, Nebraska costs a lot less money than a billboard in LA. Your area is going to differ from everybody else's. So make sure to do research on what the rates are in your area for whatever marketing techniques you're going to choose. There are a lot of different ways to market out there. You get to be super creative with this assignment. And I'm actually going to share my screen here and tell you what the assignment is. So this assignment looks really simple. Please don't be fooled. There's a lot to this assignment. First, you're going to calculate what your marketing budget is using your annual revenue. And it tells you right here how to do that. You're going to multiply that $700,000 by 0.02, and that'll give you 2% of your total revenue, which is your annual marketing budget. So over the course of an entire year, that's all the money you have to spend there. Then you're going to list 3 marketing techniques and explain how and why it's best for your concept. So sounds pretty easy, right? Yeah? No? Maybe? No? Oh, good. I'm so glad. There's a lot of research to be done here, but it's a fun assignment. You get to think about how you want to really present yourself and your concept to the world around you and bring those people into your business. If you're that vegan or vegetarian restaurant Chef Rachel was talking about earlier, how do you target your target market specifically? Maybe TV isn't the best option, but flyers on the hiking trails, because you know they're more into those healthier activities, might be a better way for you to go. So think about what your target market is with these marketing techniques that you're choosing. And remember, guys, there are endless ways to market your business. Everywhere you look, there's marketing. There's marketing on me right now. I am marketing this school right now just by wearing this chef coat.
Yeah, my merchandise used to, I used to use for my merchandise, I sold Contigo mugs that were the color of the of CSU. CSU colors are gold and green. And I specifically chose those colors for some of the mugs because I had CSU parents staying at my establishment. And they would be like, oh, look, it's like the same colors. I'm going to buy this because it helped them remember, like, you know, it had my logo on it, but I had the CSU colors. That's the type of marketing you can do. That's creative and, you know, all that fun stuff. Am I right?
Absolutely. So there's a reason that the first step to this assignment is calculating your marketing budget. I do want to hear how each technique you've chosen fits into that marketing budget. And that means researching those costs for each one of them. If you're going to do social media and you're going to handle it yourself, well, luckily, you gave yourself both a salary and a weekly amount of hours a couple of weeks ago. So if you divide your weekly salary by the hours, then you can set aside that much money per hour that you're spending on Instagram. Because that's time you're not spending doing something else in your business, right? You're not balancing the books, you're not training staff, you're not hiring anyone, you're not in the kitchen producing anything, you're not touching tables in the dining room. You need to set aside time every day of every week to market your business when you take on a project like that. There are people out there who can do these things for you. You just have to pay them to do it. I am not a social media guru by any means. I would hire somebody. It's just not my forte. and it's not where I'm really passionate about. So I recognize that about myself, and I surround myself with people who really are passionate about those marketing techniques that I'm interested in. By doing that, I make my business stronger. So that is an okay answer. I'm going to hire somebody to do my social media, but again, look into how much those books cost. You might be surprised.
Yeah. And I mean, because I would actually, you could hire someone who does that, like say Chef Jamie. She does that she also does that. And, but I would like go home at night and with my husband and we'd be like watching TV. I would be sitting there doing all my social media stuff, but I would also be going onto different websites such as like, Fodor's, remember them for like those big old, thick old, like travel books, like the book that's like Australia and England. And like, they have all the different, like this is way back when, me, the social immigrant that I am, where you could bring the book and it had all the list of restaurants and everything. Well, now they actually have a website and they have a blog. So I would go on and answer any questions that they had about Fort Collins or Northern Colorado area. And as I answered all the questions that anybody had about that stuff, I had a link that brought them back to my website. So I went on, talked to people about how awesome Fort Collins was, and then provided that link to get them back in to my website to get them to be like, oh, well, she knows a lot about Fort Collins. Yeah, let's see what is this place? And ta-da, I got people in. And that's being creative, but it also took up my time. And you got to pay yourself. You have to give yourself money to do this stuff. Because that was time that I spent next to my husband, not watching TV, just working on social media. So, am I right? Right? Yeah. And there's some other great ways that you can always do this kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of awesome things that you can do for marketing. It's just being open to those possibilities. Am I right, Chef?
You are. And I was just going to throw out a few of those.
Yeah.
TV, radio, newspaper, internet ads, Google optimization for search engines optimization so that your name pops up at the top with your website, social media, flyers. You can host charity events, and if you approach it right, that can be a great marketing tool. There's a million ways to get out there. You can pay people to have a big old sign for your restaurant on the side of their door everywhere they go in their car. That is a thing, a moving billboard. There are a million possibilities out there, and it's really only limited by your own imagination and creativity in getting your name out to the public. The trick with this assignment is matching the target market that you're aiming for and your budget with the marketing techniques that you're gonna do. So typically, if you do newspapers and radio and TV, you're gonna be so far over budget, it's not even funny. So if you do something expensive, you're probably gonna have a lot of less expensive marketing to go with it. A TV ad has a lot of costs besides just the airtime. You got to pay to produce that. You have to pay to write it. You have to pay every time it airs. There's a lot of costs there that may be harder to find. So just keep in mind that TV is really expensive, but there are workarounds for that if you're creative.
Yeah, can you imagine how much was a commercial for Super Bowl? You guys, how much did that end up being? Like millions of dollars for like a 30-second commercial?
Yeah, I think it was like $5 million for the 30-second commercials. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and how many of them did you actually like, and how many did you like? Have you already forgotten?
I forgot about most of them. There was only a couple of them that got my attention.
And another key part to your marketing too is doing the follow-up, making sure it's actually working, doing the surveys. If people are commenting on Yelp or TripAdvisor, you comment back. You do good customer service, not, you can't just say, well, you're 100% wrong. You don't have to come back here. You don't want to have that type of answer when you're doing your follow-up. And I gave you guys, while it is hilarious, where is it? While it is hilarious, you should not try this at your establishment. And it is a link to bad Yelp reviews from The Tonight Show for you guys to enjoy. It is hilarious, but you know, don't do that for your establishment. Don't tell people that they're 100% wrong. That's not good marketing. That's not good brand imaging. Not at all.
So, do you guys have any questions about this assignment? Because otherwise, I'll just talk about return on investment for a minute. Go ahead, Elena. I knew that would get somebody.
So you want us to be, I mean, you said, it said 2 or 3 sentences, but what if it goes over? Like, can we be a little more detailed? Because I know that some of the stuff that I was thinking of doing is going to take more than that.
There is no limit. 100 pages is going to make me cry a little bit, but I will absolutely read it. There is no limit on how long this assignment is. Please be as thorough as you can be. I do want to, it really helps you to have a clear idea of how these marketing techniques are going to work.
Because remember,
can we show you samples?
Sure. I'm happy to take a look at whatever you want.
Okay.
But just know, extras are just that. I'm happy to give you feedback on them, but they won't necessarily, I still grade on the same criteria.
Okay.
Okay.
because remember, look at us like we are your investors. And your investors are going to want to know as much details as you can give about how you're going to get that word out, how awesome you are, how awesome your food is. Aaron, what is your question?
Actually, you talked about serve safe at the beginning of the class, and you talk about planning ahead. Now, I don't currently work in the restaurant industry. Would I be able to go and pay for it on my own to get my serve safe certification, or do I have to be sponsored by somebody?
No, you can go on, and I actually gave you a link to that. I believe it was in week 3 for Serve Safe, and I can even pop it in right here once I add it. And then
I'll go back to that week 3. I'll find that. Yeah,
here is boom, and you can go ahead and do it on your own. And I will tell you this too, Aaron. I did horses before going to culinary school. I was going to school for equine teacher trainer, facility management, and business. And then I started, cooking and enjoyed it. And that's when I switched paths. So it's okay if you've never walked into a kitchen before, because that's what I was like.
Well, I'm familiar with working in restaurants. I just, I have a different job right now, and I'm looking to get out of it permanently.
Yeah, well, you're already one up on me, because I never even stepped foot in the side of a commercial kitchen before when I went to culinary school. And yeah, I just fell in love with it.
I chose a different path when I was younger. I went for what I thought was going to make me happy, and realized after 20 some years it has never made me happy. So, and I remember back to what I was doing before and where I was happy and enjoyed it. So I figured I'd go back. I never lost it. But my other question here is just regarding the ROI that Chef Jonathan is so itching to talk about. I was thinking.
You broke up. What did you? Hello?
I don't know. There was something that popped in there for a second.
Okay.
Anyway, what I was going to ask here is, I'm thinking of just even your restaurant equipment. If I'm going to go, it's almost like justifying the reason to spend the money because, you go buy a brand new cooler, say, like like they talked about in previous classes, and okay, it's not going to break down as much. So it's going to keep your food cool. That's going to help keep the food cool and good to make you money for a longer period of time than something else. So if you have, that's what I'm looking at as ROI.
So then I'm going to pull this up. This is actually my homework from 2 weeks ago, which is a business. It's called Mise en Place. What does mise en place mean, guys?
Mess in place.
Mise en place. You guys remember?
Your setup of ingredients.
Everything in its place, right? And it's a cooking school. So I called it Mise en Place because we want our customers to feel that their place is in the kitchen with us learning how to cook. Hear that marketing right there? Boom. So this is all the information, and this isn't real. Like, this isn't a real place. This is all the stuff that I did in order to figure out all of this fun stuff. So I figured out how much my revenue stream was going to be, my net present value, and then you talked about your kitchen stuff. All of this is my total fixed costs for just opening up my establishment. So when we talk about doing your research, these are things you need to look at. And as you can see right here, these are my numbers for my marketing. Right there. All of that fun stuff. Oh, sorry, that's facilities. This is my marketing. But this does not include the initial costs for actually getting your brand up and going. You're established, getting it established. This doesn't even include like getting the website up, creating it, all of like buying a sign, because signs are expensive. Like all of that kind of stuff, that's in my startup costs. Sorry. But this stuff is you need to look at and know so you can understand what your return on investment is going to be. Something that I know Chef Jonathan also wants to talk about. So I figured I'd segue in.
So you guys ran into this term in CE225, which, Aaron, that's what you were talking about, where we were talking about return on investment when looking at equipment and how sometimes it's worth it to look at used equipment instead of new, sometimes it's not, and it really depends on a lot of different factors. With marketing, the way that we're talking about it today, we're really looking at how do you figure out how much business a marketing technique is actually driving to your business. How many people did this coupon bring in the door for me? And that's the beautiful thing about coupons is you can actually track that. How many of those coupons came back to you? Well, if you keep the coupons, then you have a stack that you can just count and say, okay, I put out 100 coupons and I got 50 back. So you can see that it is driving business, and you can look at how much the average ticket was on those. There, you can really dig into how much money that coupon program really brought into your business. And that's really a small piece of return on investment.
And
go ahead.
Well, and it's also important too, because like places that use those coupons who didn't actually look at their return on investments and look at the financing properly, there have been stories of people going out of business because so many people bought the coupon, but then they did not factor in the correct costs associated with it. So if they said buy one, get one free and didn't realize how much money they were actually giving away, they lost more than what they ended up getting, and they went out of business. So you really have to be, careful with that stuff because that happens. Am I right?
Groupon is dangerous. It goes out to a lot of people. So you got to be really careful with the promotions you run.
Yeah, you do. You have to work it really, really well. And there are some things that are like Groupon, but they're not, where you can actually cap it. You can actually put a cap and say, I only want to sell 100 of these. But some places, they don't let you cap it. And so it's like all or nothing. So that's why it's important to do the research. So if you say like, I'm going to use like one of these platforms for your marketing in the assignment, you better make certain that you do your research and double check. So.
Not to say coupons are bad.
No, they're not. But
with care, and they can be really tremendous tools for your business. Or they can really kill your business. You just got to be careful and know what you're getting into.
So yeah, are there any other questions?
What about those books in hotels?
About those books in hotel, like the are you talking about the little oh yeah, the coupon books? Yeah, that is a form of marketing that you can use. That is something that you can use. Yeah, they are awesome. And it is a great tool. There's nothing wrong with using it. You just need to make certain that you're doing the numbers to make sure that you can afford to do it. All right. All right. Well, remember guys, week 5 assignment is due on Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. But you guys are going to do it early, right? Because
Extra credit.
extra credit. So get it in by Saturday, 11:59 p.m. and you get extra credit. So I hope everybody has a great week. I always go over on this week. I've noticed that it's my marketing week is always my like, but there's so much we could talk about. And so I hope everybody has a fabulous, fabulous week. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody turn in their stuff early for extra credit. Am I right? And having that plan for week 6 because Sunday is the last day in class for week 6. So you better make sure you have your assignments done early. All right, guys. Have a great, great week.
All right, good night, guys.
Good night.